So welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today we have a special guest. This is Natalie. Natalie, if you want to do a brief intro.
Hi, thanks, Ben. My name's Natalie Bell. I'm based in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm a nurse at Cleveland Clinic, which is one of the main hospitals here in Cleveland, and then also a life coach, more specializing in mental health and dating relationships. So happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. Happy to have you. So if you kind of want to go straight into like the life coaching and how you got involved in that, that'd be a great place to start.
Sure. Yeah. So I think with nursing, I get a really good side of being there for people during like pretty vulnerable times in their life. I'm able to give back to them, bring a smile to their face. And of course, with nursing comes like the illness part of humans. So for me, I always craved something a little bit like more overarching and wanted to focus more on the wellness side of being human. So for me, life coaching kind of seems like a perfect place for me to start. I'm also super passionate about mental health. So just thought that would kind of bring everything together. So back during COVID, took a health coaching course and just fell in love with it, and then started my business back at the beginning of the year.
That's awesome. And I think it has such a valuable tool. Like the return on investment with like courses like that, or just utilizing someone with your resources, is just, you can't even put it into like, there's no way to actually create the value of it because it's invaluable. Like you just offer so many different things from your perspective, from your life. And I just think, I don't know, I think a lot of people kind of take things like that for granted and kind of look at them with a poor image, when really the return on investment is the most important work we could do is on ourselves.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. And then, I think people don't realize like how valuable their life experiences can be for other people. Something I say often is like, your healing out loud is, giving somebody the chance to like not suffer in silence. So for me, that just really hit home. I've gone through some things in my life that has just like caused me to, look into personal work and mental health and things like that. So for me to be able to share that journey like authentically, it just gives people the opportunity to know that they're not alone. And I think the more that we can do that for each other, the better off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's real strength in vulnerability. And I think I'd be curious to know, do you have male clients?
What's funny is that a lot of my, like majority of my clients are male. And which I didn't really expect, but I'm also not really surprised, because I just feel like there's a stigma with mental health all around, but especially with men. So I think, if I can create a platform that is more inviting for everybody, like men included, I think that's really powerful and something that I would love to like dive more into, especially just having more male clients. I'm like, now I get to like really do, like, this is like a learning curve for me too, because I'm obviously like a female, and I, don't know as much about the male brain as my own female brain. So for me, like, I will get to like learn some things about men and what goes on in their minds, and like different things that they go through that maybe we don't think about. So it's gonna be cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
That's pretty surprising. I would have assumed it would have been majority of female, but the more like I think about it for myself, so like I tend to take in a lot of male like entrepreneurs or just people in the fitness space. So I purposely try to listen to more females. So I'm assuming the men that utilize your service have the same outlook.
Yeah, and I think, in terms of like dating too, I think it's cool to try to learn about the opposite sex of who you're who you're attracted to. So, I am gonna end up with a man. So I want to learn how to best support a man, because that's who I'm going to be with the rest of my life. Of course, support myself and other women, but when you're looking for a partner, you want to be able to support them in the best way that you can. So it's like almost like practice for me, like meeting these clients and being there for them. It's like practice for me, and just getting me ready for that next chapter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes you more well-rounded. And I feel like me personally, like very strong Italian women in my life. So I have like a softer side that I feel like a lot of my friends are just people I encounter, especially in the fitness space that I'm in, where it's like run marathons, ultra racing, bodybuilding. It's like, just strong, like aggressive men. And it's like, I deal with like my sisters and my mom. I'm like always with them, always talking with them. So like I have such a good female perspective, but at the same time, you could always be open to more. But yeah, I think it's so important. And I'm assuming, yeah, that's exactly why people enjoy utilizing your services.
Yeah, yeah. And I have three brothers. I grew up with three brothers. So I think I also just have like I am obsessed with all three of them. Like I just love them and I want to support them too. So, I think growing up with them in my mind too, and having them like in the forefront of my mind as I starting like this life coaching journey. Maybe that just has something to do with it. And I'm attracting, a certain clientele because of that. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
No, absolutely. I think a lot more things are connected than we think, and it makes total sense.
For sure. Absolutely.
So how do you feel about life coaching like as a whole? Like what was your prior thoughts on it, and how do you view it now?
Prior thoughts, I thought it was going to be more like I don't know, like a therapy kind of thing. Because I think like a lot of it goes into the same realm, like therapy, counseling, life coaching. So I think I thought it would be more like me having to come up with all of these different things for these clients to do, and granted, like some people will need that, and that's great, but I think what I'm noticing is a pattern of just people wanting to talk things out, people wanting support, people wanting a sounding board, people wanting just perspectives that they might not get from their day-to-day friends, family, because I feel like a lot of times when we're so in our situation in our life, we can't see it as clearly as like somebody outside looking in, because we're so in it. So I think for me, I get to like provide that outside looking in perspective that I think a lot of people like maybe just need or crave. So that's something that I'm noticing a pattern of, like people just want somebody to listen to them and to be there just for support. So that's
Yeah.
been really cool experience.
No, absolutely. And as you're saying, like we have like the blinders on. So it's so easy to kind of, when you're in it, it's the most detrimental thing in the world, when really if you take one step outside and you just change your perspective, which obviously you're offering different perspectives, you could just change the situation, really.
Yeah. And I think, just being able to like almost like mirror back what they're saying. And sometimes the way, like, if I say something back to you that you just said to me, they might hear something click just because they hear it from somebody else and it's coming from somebody else other than their own head.
Yeah,
So,
no,
and a lot of
absolutely.
times I tell a lot of my clients, like, you have all the answers inside of you. I'm just being somebody who you can voice things off of and figure that out for yourself.
Absolutely. And hearing you talk about it, it actually makes more sense now why you would have more male clients, because I think it's a lot of the self-love and like self-work that men tend to shy away from, because again, the stigmas around, being a man, and it's kind of like a softer topic. And I think it
Mhm.
makes so much sense, because it's literally you're helping them create like themselves out of the self-work that they might not have been doing on their own.
And a safe place like for them to share, that they're not
Yeah.
judged, where they can be vulnerable, I think is something that I'm like proud to like offer and like be a soft part in. So yeah, that's been cool so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. And kind of like piggybacking right off of that, kind of want to go into like self love and like your relationship with self, and kind of, I think you posted something the other day about the books you're reading. I've read a lot of the same books. Like my favorite is The Untethered Soul,
So
and
good.
it's so good. And if you kind of want to just pick up right there.
Yeah, I think a big part of like my self-love journey started when I ended a really long-term relationship. And so I think I kind of just like realized that I lost myself in that relationship and in that person. So for me, it was a lot of like rebuilding myself back up and learning to like know, like, and trust myself again. And that takes like a lot of work, and it takes a lot of like really ugly stuff that people maybe aren't willing to like look at within themselves, because it's scary. It's like a weird topic to like discuss and to think about, and it's uncomfortable and it sucks to feel your feelings sometimes, but for me, like, it was just essential. Like I knew I needed to do it, and I knew the only way to like get through it was just to go through it. So you have to like feel to heal sometimes. And so like books and journaling and podcasts were like my way to deal with all of that. And to be able to like create then the like self-love and like self-confidence that I have now, was mainly due to, obviously support from friends. Did go to therapy for some time, and then books and podcasts and journaling.
Yeah, no, I think it's crucial. And I think a lot of people neglect like the work. And I know what you said there, you even start, I think so many people do it, where you kind of put your happiness in the other person and you leave yourself at the end of it. Of course, like if it ends poorly or if it just ends in general, like you're left with almost nothing because you put so much happiness and just yourself in this other person.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and I know like everything happens for a reason. So like for me, I knew I had to go through that in order to gain like the self-love that I now have, and certain standards that I now will carry forward into a new relationship. And just my want for my future partner too. Like I want them to come first. I want them to, take care of them and their mental health. I want them to have that self-love too. So it'll just be a brand new like breath of fresh air inside of a relationship because of this newfound like perspective and just like mindset that I now have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm in a very similar boat myself. And it's almost the idea to like be selfish to be selfless. And I
Mhm.
think, a lot of people view the word selfish as this awful thing when really, if you're doing it for the right reasons, like I'm someone that I have to work out every day, basically. And that just puts me in the right mind. And I'm better to the people around me if I did get that workout in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I really got to like understand was that self-care is not selfish, and being selfish about the things that make you the best you is actually the most selfless thing that you can do for everybody around you, because they're getting the best version of you and the most healthy, mentally stable, like great version of yourself. Had you not like poured that love and time and energy into yourself, like you wouldn't be able to be that person for everybody around you. So I think it's super important. And I now view like self-care so differently too. Because for a long time, like I was called selfish for taking care of myself. And so I got to rewrite that story in my mind, which took a long time, but now I'm like so grateful for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. And it's, you can't pour from an empty glass is really what it comes down to. And I see it daily, even just obviously like organic relationships with like family and friends. And you need the things that ground you, and it's not selfish to do those things. And like you said, put yourself first.
Yeah. And it gives you, I think, a appreciation and more of like a soft spot for people who are also doing that for themselves, like different friends or family members that are going through things, and maybe who make plans with you and then they cancel, or they're not showing up as powerfully as they can. Like it gives you more compassion for those people, because like they're filling up their cup, and it absolutely has nothing to do with me. It's just they get to do this for themselves, and we get to realize like that's not selfish of them, they're just taking care of them.
Yeah. But again, even that goes back to like the awareness to have this self-love to realize that the other people need to do that as well. And I awareness is another one where I wish a lot more people had it. It is tough. And of course, obviously, we're all on our own journeys and learning at our own pace. But sometimes I want to shake people.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not something you can teach. It's something that people just will have to go through for themselves. And as much as we want to like shake those people in those moments, like you just get to love them where they're at, and just hope the best for them and just keep working on you.
Absolutely. And so, what are some key things that, like, obviously, you mentioned, for eventually looking for a partner, what are some key things that you'll keep in mind? So, how you said you kind of like got lost in your last relationship, like, how will you prevent that from happening? Do you have like things you actively work on or look for in other people that can kind of help you navigate that?
I think the emotional awareness of myself, and then my future partner too, and just the want to work on yourself. Like I think a lot of people maybe like we said before, like shy away from that, and I think it's one of the things that makes you actually grow closer to your partner. So if you're staying stagnant, like the relationship will never grow. And so I need somebody who is equally as putting time and energy into themselves to grow themselves. And I think there's certain things that I now look for that I maybe wasn't aware of before. Like, is aware of their own boundaries and aware of their own needs and works on themselves, and also like has their life separate from me. And I say this now, like I am very comfortable in being like independent and single. Like I've almost come to like love my singleness so much. So when, I think about a partner, I want them to add to my life. And so until somebody comes along that adds to my life instead of like takes away from it, I'm okay being in my singleness. So, I want somebody who is focused on their life and creating things that they love and doing things that they love to do while I'm also doing that, because I never want that to go away, even though we are in a relationship.
Right. It's almost like building each other separately and then building together as one as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I'm in the same boat. And it's funny because like my mom is like, what are we doing? Like, I'm like, I'm 27, like just relax. But again, it's just, that's a society norm, right? Where it's like, my sister did the white picket fence, got married, had the cutest child. And it's like, she's just waiting for, you're next. And I'm just like at my own time. But yeah, I find myself in this space now where it's like, I almost feel so selfish because I'm like, I don't want to give my time up because I just, like you said, I enjoy being single.
Yeah. And I think though, when the right person comes along that aligns with those things that you crave, and that, because we can give certain things to ourselves, we can be okay by ourselves. It's not like a need, it's just a want at that point. So, yeah, it's tough because I want to find a partner. And so I'm so open to it, but at the same time, like we can't settle, because that would just be like not the solution to what we're looking for. So yeah, it's tough because you want it but you don't want to settle, so it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. But
I know. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
with the right person, it'll feel like it's not taking away from my life, it's adding to my life, is how I view it.
Absolutely. And how do you navigate? So obviously being a life coach, like doing a lot of the self-work, do you ever get worried at the fact of like almost like the teacher student roles within a relationship? Does that ever kind of pop into your head?
No, I have never encountered that kind of feeling inside. I think though, in relationships, like there are certain points where we're learning from our partners, and or like not so much teaching, but like sharing in a way that invites them to kind of participate in your learning as well. So I think there's just certain like ebbs and flows of a relationship that like I'm learning, you're learning, we're learning together, not really like a teacher student. But I think that's something to also like look for in a partner, is the willingness to be like not taught, but like sharing in the learning with you.
Yeah. No, I've asked a bunch of people that question just like on podcasts and off, and sharing, I think, is like the most crucial word you use there, which is so true because it's like it's a transaction, right? Like it's not like one person just fully giving to the other. It's like a give and take.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And just a question for myself, like what is your view? Because I personally don't use them, but what is your view on like dating apps?
So
Out of
I'm not,
curiosity.
I'm not on them. So I can't speak to like the
Right.
actual like swiping and the conversations on there. I know that it has worked for people in the past, so I can't like be like, screw dating apps.
Yeah.
Because I think they do work for some people, but I think for me, like, um, it's just very almost like it seems surface level to me. And I can't speak from experience because I haven't tried it. So I can't really judge something I haven't tried. But yeah, I think it works for some people. I'm not interested in trying it. I think, I'm pretty present on social media as is. So I feel like adding something else to kind of put myself out there as is just another avenue that I'm not really willing to like invest in at this time in my life.
Yeah.
But and I think just like my social media is like my dating app, basically. Like I put myself out there, I'm like so myself, like you get to see all like sides of me on my social media. I share a lot. So for me, it's like I don't really feel like I need that or want that or crave that in my life right now. So for me, it's just like not my way, but it could be somebody else's way. No judgment, but it's not for me.
No, so I was just curious. I'm
How
in
do
the
you,
same boat with it.
how do you feel with it?
I I don't use them either, so I really can't speak to it as far as like how they work. Um, but yeah, I'm also in the same boat with social media. But I feel like it's funny because like putting yourself out there so much like is almost like it helps because I feel like it weeds out who would be in and who would be out, right? Because now you see everything. So it's not even like, you know, and again, I'm the same way. I hide no parts of myself on social media. Like I talk about, mental health. I talk about most of it's fitness, but yeah, I feel like it kind of I found that it probably deters people from talking to me because it's like, well, I don't want to talk to someone that has all of their stuff out there. When obviously relationship and stuff I would keep separate. But how do you feel about that? Like, do you think at all putting yourself fully out there and being vulnerable like that might like deter people just because other people aren't as open?
I think it can. And for me though, I think social media has become it's a way for me to just connect with people and like share my message and like gives me more of a purpose to like share and connect. So for me, like my future partner is gonna like that about me.
Right.
So it's never something I'm ever like shying away from because of what I think some man will think. Like if it's not in support by somebody else, then that's just not my person. Um, so I kind of view it that way. Like that person who I'm supposed to be with will be attracted to the way that I share, um and if they're not, then like that's just not for me. So yeah, it's tough though. I feel like sometimes to like know like the line of it. And I think I've been using social media for a lot, like many years now. So I feel like I've come to like know how I like to use it, when I know I need to like take a step back and certain things like that. But yeah, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I've noticed it already. Like, and it's like so I came to a point in 2020 where I was posting a lot, and then I got back with a significant other, and I stopped. And I know that like not to really go into detail, but like I know that she wasn't really a fan of it. So I just know that a lot of people might have that viewpoint where it's like you're so open, but of course, like I said before, like certain things I'm gonna keep private no matter what. But again, like I'm also a little on the too much on the fitness side where it's like my shirt's off often. So like of course that would stop as well with a significant other. But I know I could see how like a girl would be like, well, I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also like just in the intention behind what you're
Right.
sharing too. Are you intentionally taking your shirt off to, show off to other women? Like, no, you're using it as like a fitness inspiring page.
Yeah.
So I think, if and it's all in communication and respect for your partner, of course, but like if you're doing something before you're in a relationship, it should also be something you're allowed to do like when you're in a relationship if the intention is a positive intention.
Right.
If your intention isn't to like get all these girls by taking off your shirt, it's to
It's
just
not working
share
if it is.
yeah, share your journey, share where you're at, like,
Yeah.
and I think your future partner will understand that and will encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. If it's working for you and you love it and you enjoy it, um, I think that's something to definitely look out for.
No, absolutely. And even like to get to that point, so like a lot of it's funny because just the way social media works, like it's almost annoying. Like I'll get hundreds of more views on my story if my shirt's off, and I'm like, it's like the sixth story in. Like I don't even know how people know though. Like it doesn't make any sense. But I use a lot of that to like talk about nutrition stuff. I went through like a big weight loss in I believe 2014, but I've always kind of been battling it. Um, and I'm at like a good place now, and I talk a lot about like nutrition and just like my personal experiences, and I'll do so on pictures with my shirt off because I know more people are going to look at it. So I'm like, if you're going to look at it, I'm going to use it to my advantage. But
Exactly. Utilize like where people are connecting with you. And like, is it because your shirt's off? Okay, whatever. But like it's the intention behind what you're sharing.
right,
And like I kind of feel that way about like when I share about fitness stuff as well. Like, I have a sports bra on, I have like maybe a little shorts on. Like and if people want to look at that to like look at it to be like
right,
that way. But if they want to look at it to like listen to what I'm saying, listen to what I'm like writing about, that's my intention. It's
Yeah.
not an intention to like show off or act a certain way in that regard. It's just to like share openly, honestly, authentically. Like this is what I do with my life. I go to the
Right.
gym. I share like this is just what I do. So
Absolutely. And I think it
yeah.
also speaks like the vulnerability part of it, where it's like I was really hesitant to do that. And I want to ask, because like obviously you've been doing social media for a while too. Like at one point were you like almost nervous or like shy to post certain things?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I for a long time I didn't post about my like like ex relationship stuff. Like I was scared of judgment. I was scared I was like oversharing. And there's certain things like of course I keep private because, you know, in respect to the other person and to myself and, you know, families and all that. But yeah, I definitely went through some time and I still do like where I have like limited beliefs pop up in my mind like, oh, I'm going to be judged or like someone's going to think this way about me and is this too much like and definitely like something I still struggle with. I think a lot of people do who do share so like openly on social media, but I have come to find that when I do share those like super scary things in my mind that I'm like so anxious before I post, those are the things that usually people connect with the most, message me about the most. So it's like I know that I should be sharing more of that because that's what people connect with.
Yeah, it always is. It's the authentic stuff. It really is. And it might not get the most views or share or whatever comments or likes, but you'll get the most like DMs about it and like real conversations about it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I absolutely feel that. And I kind of want to go into so what was your fitness journey like and how did that kind of start? I know you just finished a half marathon, which congrats.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, my fitness journey, I guess it's kind of it kind of stems from I was a student, like I was an athlete all growing up. I played soccer and lacrosse, played lacrosse in college, and then after so it was weird transition from like um playing sports to then like figuring out what that looked like fitness looked like to me after sports weren't like a big part of my life anymore. So after college, it got to be like I got to make the decision for myself about what that was going to look like. So, you know, a lot of trial and error, figuring out like what kind of flow works for me. And in the past, I would say like 2 years, it's really kind of like been at the forefront of my self-care routine is just moving my body because for me now I realize like how important it is for my mental health. So before like, you know, before I got really involved in with like mental health and self-development, I feel like I was doing a lot for just like physique and like physical purposes, just like wanted to look good. I knew it was like healthy, but now I think now I realize how important it is for me personally, for my mental health. So for me, I'm just more consistent with it because I know that it's that important to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was in the same boat. I call it like I was like six pack chasing for a while until I realized like all of the mental benefits that you really get from it. And that's kind
Yeah.
of what I chase now as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's funny because I have like my best physical results now in my life because I'm doing it for mental health reasons. So just like it's funny how that works. Like when you focus on the mental side, like the physical side just comes in turn with it. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. What is your relationship like with running? Because I know I personally love running and I have like a community of people that love it, but I know there's obviously people that don't like it. But how do you feel about it? Obviously, you ran the half marathon.
yeah, so it's funny because I feel like I've always associated running with punishment because of soccer and lacrosse. Like we would have to like run suicides and run laps and things when we we didn't do very well. So
Yeah.
a long time I associated it with like punishment and punishing my body and like this sucks. Like the whole time I would be thinking in my head like this sucks. I hate it. So I think that was a big reason why I like challenged myself to the halves. The first half, I like did not love training. I hated it. I had like an injured IT band during my training and during my race. So it was just like not not as great. But the second time around, I just did my last one was last month. I really enjoyed training. I was healthy, knock on wood, throughout the whole training and throughout the whole race. And I have like a new mindset around running now where it's like I actually like enjoy it and I like it. Granted, I was like training during, I'm a freeze baby, so I love the heat. So I was training all through summer and I loved that.
Mhm.
So I have not run since we have. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, I'm not a runner, but
Yeah.
I now I'm like, oh, like I always said I'm never gonna do a full marathon. Like I have no desire, no interest. And now I'm like, shit, like definitely gonna probably do a full marathon. So
That's
we'll see.
awesome.
Maybe that's in the books for next year. But yeah, it's become almost like a mental escape for me. It's a way for me to just like clear my head. Um, it's just like me and running. So it's been a nice little like just another avenue for me to really like dive into mental health wise. So it's been fun. It's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, no, it really is great, and it's such like it's therapeutic, and I
Mhm.
think it's also the fact of like at the same time of like mentally battling yourself, you're physically challenging yourself as well.
Yeah.
So do you have specific plans for the marathon, or are you kind of just gonna put it together as you
Oh,
go?
yeah, not sure yet. I'm throwing around the idea in my brain like I could definitely do it, but
Yeah,
yeah, we'll have to see what that looks like for next year because I
yeah,
would have
that's
to
how it starts, and then you'll finalize a plan, I'm sure.
That's what everybody says. Everybody's like, yeah, you'll
Yeah,
get hooked. I'm like, oh shoot. I'm
yeah,
in for it.
what happens once you start liking it, it really is what happens.
I know it's addicting.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, what are some strong like women influences that you personally follow?
Um, honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I don't follow a lot of like influencers or um it's more like podcasters or um like I follow a lot of accounts that post like quotes and things on Instagram. I don't follow a ton of like influencers, but like I'm thinking of people in my mind. Like I love, I don't know if you've heard of Angie Lee. She has a
I think it
podcast.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, she has a podcast, and she hosts like in-person events, and she is super just authentic, so freaking goofy, so silly, but she shares about like important topics like that I'm interested in as well, like mental health and women's health and all that stuff. So she's been somebody who I followed throughout like my last couple of years of mental health and obviously my mom like she's on social media, but I like I'm obsessed with her. So she's been a big part of just like why I am the way I am. So her and then just yeah, certain things like on social media that I follow that are more like quote driven
Right.
uh than like more like
Specific
kind
women. Yeah.
of influencer driven. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then lastly, so the name of the podcast is the Keep Going podcast. So what keeps you going, and like what's your deep why?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think it's like forever changing for me. I know I listen to Jay Shetty a lot and he talks about like purpose a lot. And I think purpose changes sometimes with like certain passions that you're passionate about in that moment in your life or in that stage in your life. So I feel like for me, my my big just I feel like umbrella of like purpose and my why is just to like connect with more humans and let other humans know they're not alone. That's just something I have felt in my heart from like a very young age. I think that's part of the reason why I went into nursing, like just to be there for people during vulnerable times. And like because I feel like there's such a stigma around mental health, like I want to be somebody who trying to break that stigma. And yeah, I am very interested in just being there for people during super hard times, sharing my experience in order to help somebody else. um, I think is just super important as humans, just connecting more and being there for each other. So it's just like a big like tug at my heart right now. So that's something that I'm like really like passionate about right now. So I'm sure that'll like, you know, change as my life goes on, but that's pretty much at the forefront of my like my why right now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Like you said, you're definitely in the right career paths to do so. And I think that answer is also really cool because I haven't had someone say like that it's going to be changing. And I think it's so important because we're evolving. So obviously our goals and our purpose should be evolving as well.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
But thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you I hope to see you run that full marathon.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, but it's
You
something
put it
I
out there now.
we'll see.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.